Hello and welcome to part 2 of this video where we're looking at the GCSE Maths exam paper from AQA. This is June 2018 paper 3 and this is the calculator paper. We're up to question number 12. Let's begin. Question 12. A takeaway sells 10-inch pizzas and 12-inch pizzas. Here is some information about the numbers sold in 2 weeks. So we've got a table showing values for week 1 and we've got a frequency tree showing the values for week 2. In each week, a proportion of the pizzas sold were 10-inch. In which week was this proportion greater? Show working to support your answer. So generally when we're asked to show a proportion, we'll write it as a fraction. So I'm going to start off that way. So in week number 1, the fraction of the pizzas sold that were 10-inch, there were 512 10-inch pizzas sold out of a total of 743. So that would be the fraction 512 over 743. For week 2, the number of 10-inch pizzas sold was 758 out of a total of 1065. So that would be a fraction of 758 over 1065. Now those are the proportions, but we need to know which one is greater. Since these are both fractions with a different number on the bottom, so different denominators, that means the easiest way to say which of these is bigger is to convert them both into the same format. You could try to do it with the fraction, but it's much easier in this case, especially since we're on a calculator paper, to turn these both into decimals. To turn a fraction into a decimal, we are literally doing the top number divided by the bottom number. So 512 divided by 743 is 0.68909825. 758 divided by 1065 is 0.71173709, and we just compare these two numbers. 0.7117 is bigger than 0.6890, so the proportion is greater in week 2. Part B. Now before I begin this question, a quick note on the Maths Watch numbering. So on the real exam paper this question is question 12B, but on Maths Watch they move this on to question number 13, which means that every question going forwards will be one number out from the exam paper to Maths Watch. To show you what the question numbers are, I've added a red number to each one, and that is saying what question that represents on Maths Watch. Let's begin this question. 12B. The table shows the profit or loss the takeaway makes on each pizza. So the table showing us that we make £3.74 profit and £5.29 profit at normal price for the 10 and 12-inch pizzas, whereas at the offer price we'll make a 51p loss on the 10-inch and a 4p loss on the 12-inch. In week 1, the total profit was £1,895.55. At the end of week 1, the takeaway spent £175 on adverts. Was the increase in profit in week 2 more than the cost of the adverts? You must show your working. So we need to figure out how much total profit we're making in week 2. Then we need to find out if the difference, so how much higher that is than the profit in week 1, covers the cost of those adverts. So we're going to try and do this 2 different ways. So having a look at profit and loss. Now you can split this up however you want, so we're going to have a look at profit first. Now I'll give you a word of warning, I'm not going to show you every single answer to these as we go through, because there is a lot of calculation involved in this question. So for the profit, so we've got normal price of £3.74 for the 10-inch and £5.29 for the 12-inch, and we're going to take our numbers from the frequency tree found in the last part of the question. So for the 10 inches at normal price, we sold 396 of them. So we're making £3.74 profit on £2,396 pizzas. For the 12-inch, we're making £5.29 profit, and from our tree we sold 164 of those pizzas. Now, I'm not going to write down the individual answers to these, but to work out the total profit, we would do both of those calculations and add them together. Once you do that, you'll find out that the total amount of profit from the normal price is £2,348.60. Now, the second part of this question, we need to have a look at the loss. Now, both of the loss prices are written in pence. I'm going to do this all in pounds. So 51 pence would be written as £0.51. So there's 51 pence. And this is the offer pizzas. So the 10-inch on offer, we sold 362 of them. So that's the calculation we do for those losses. 4 pence for the 12-inch pizzas will be written as £0.04, and we sold 143 of those pizzas. Once again, I'm not going to show you the individual answers, but you'd work both of those out and add them together to find out that we're going to be losing a total of £190 and 34 pence on those pizzas. So overall, we're making £2,348.60, but then we're losing £190.34. So to find out the total amount of profit in week 2, we need to subtract these answers from one another. So £2,348.60 minus £190.34 means that the total profit for week 2 is £2,158.26. Now, the next part of the question, we need to find out how much more that profit is than the end of week 1. So once again, that's another subtraction. So we're going to be doing £2,158.26, and we're going to subtract week 1's profit of £1,895.55, which means in total we made £262.71 more profit in week 2 than week 1, and that number is bigger than the 175 that was spent on adverts. So the final answer is going to be yes. The increase in profit in week 2 is more than the cost of the adverts. Question 13 on the exam, but 14 on Maths Watch. A car travels 3.5 miles in 5 minutes. Work out the average speed in miles per hour. Well, an hour is 60 minutes. So we need to figure out how far this car would go in 60 minutes. So we can compare the number of miles that it travels with the number of minutes it takes to do it. So from the question, we will travel 3.5 miles, and that will take us 5 minutes. And we just need to scale this up. So instead of it being worth 5 minutes, we need to scale it up to 60. You can do that in one step. That 5 times 12 is 60. I'm going to do it in 2 just to make it a little bit easier. So if we do 3.5 miles in 5 minutes, if I double the amount of time, so from 5 minutes up to 10 minutes, it means we will double the amount of distance travelled. 3.5 times 2 is 7. So we'll travel 7 miles in 10 minutes, and then it's a lot easier then to go from 10 minutes up to 60 minutes by multiplying by 6. And 7 times 6 is 42, which means that we will travel 42 miles in 60 minutes, which means we're travelling 42 miles per hour. There's our final answer. Question 14. A triangle has base 9 centimetres and perpendicular height 5.6 centimetres. Work out the area of the triangle. Even though this triangle looks strange and the height isn't found within the triangle, it's still the same formula for working out the area of any triangle. We're going to be doing the base multiplied by the height, and then once we've done that, we need to divide the answer by 2. So the base is 9 centimeters, the height is 5.6, and then we're going to divide that answer by 2. 9 times 5.6 is 50.4, and 50.4 divided by 2 means that the area of this triangle is 25.2 centimeters squared. Question 15. 4 positive whole numbers add up to 36. One of the numbers is a multiple of 7. The other 3 numbers are equal. Work out the result when the 4 numbers are multiplied. So the first thing we need to do is work out what the 4 numbers are. We're told that one of the numbers is a multiple of 7. Multiples are the numbers that are found within a times table. So multiples of 7 would be 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, and so on. We also know that once we've got one of those numbers in our list, the other 3 numbers are equal, which means the total of those other 3 numbers must be able to be divided by 3 to get these numbers. So if we start with our 7 as our first number, and we were trying to work out what the other 3 are, in order for these all to add up to 36, these would all need to add up to 29. Because 7 plus 29 is 36. However, 29 cannot be divided by 3 to give 3 equal numbers that are all whole numbers, because 29 is not in the 3 times table. So 7 is not the multiple of 7 used in this question, and we'll keep trying until we find one that works. So the next one will be 14 as the first number, which means that the remaining 3 numbers, 14 plus 22 is 36, and once again 22 is not in the 3 times table, so we can't divide it by 3 equally into whole numbers. Next we'll try 21. 21 as the first number means that the remaining 3 numbers must total to give 15. 21 and 15 make 36, and this time 15 is in the 3 times table. 15 splits equally between those 3 numbers means that the remaining 3 numbers would each have to be 5. So we've got our 4 positive whole numbers, 21, 5, 5 and 5, and we need to work out the result when these numbers are multiplied together. So you're just typing into your calculator 21 times 5 times 5 times 5 to get the final answer of 2,625. Question 16. A sketch of triangle ABC is shown. In the space below, complete an accurate drawing of triangle ABC. So we've been given the baseline of AB, and that is 11 centimeters long. So we can see the 11 centimeter base. We're going to need to do 2 things. We're going to need to have to draw an angle of 37 degrees and then make line AC equal to 8 centimeters. So the first one we're going to need is that angle of 37 degrees. For that, we're going to need to use a protractor. Now the angle is coming off point A, which means that the central point of this protractor needs to be centered on point A, and the rest of this line AB needs to be flush against the bottom of that protractor so that we're touching one of the zeros. Now you'll notice on the protractor we have 2 different scales. One starts at 0 and goes clockwise to make up to 180. The other starts at 0 and goes anti-clockwise to make 180. You need to use the number that starts at 0, so we're going to use the inside scale. Now 37 degrees means we're going to need to go around to 30, which corresponds with the 150 on the outside, and then a further 7 points to go inside. Once you've done that, you'll place a mark and you'll be drawing a line from point A upwards to 37 degrees. Now this line needs to be fairly long because we need to be able to section it off at 8 centimeters. So I'm going to draw that line there, and we've done with the protractor. Okay, so we've got the 37 degrees, that is there. We now need to make the line AC equal to 8 centimeters, so we'll just measure that. Okay, so we are measuring 8 centimeters. We get to this point here, and that is where we will connect to point B. And so that length is 8 centimeters. So we have triangle A, B, C accurately drawn. Don't be tempted to rub out any of these working lines. These are construction lines and they are required to be seen to get full marks. Question 17. Simplify 7 minus and then 3x minus 2x in brackets. So this is a bid mass question combined with algebra, which means that we need to do the brackets first. So inside the brackets we've got 3x minus 2x. If we do 3x minus 2x, we are left with just one single x. We are now doing 7x minus that 1x, and 7x minus 1x gives us a total of 6x. Question 18. A competition took place in 1983. Takes place every 6 years. Circle the year in which it will also take place. So this is just a case of adding 6 onto 1983 as many times as possible until we reach one of these answers. This is easiest done on a calculator because you can just keep adding 6 over and over and over again. If you do that, you'll find the answer is 2049. The other way that you can figure this out is you could find out how far apart 1983 and each of these years are, and only one of them will be divisible by 6. So from 1983 to 2049 is basically the 17 years up to 2000 plus the 49, which is 66. And 66 is divisible by 6. So therefore 2049 will be our correct answer. It'll be 11 competitions time. Question 19. In an election there were 4 candidates, J, K, L and M. Fran is drawing a pie chart to show the results. The sectors for J and K have been drawn. Twice as many people voted for L as voted for M. Complete the pie chart. So we need to work out what angles we're going to have to draw for section L and M, which means we need to figure out how much of this circle hasn't been used. We've already used 72 degrees and a right angle is worth 90 degrees. So if I do 360, which is the full circle, and I subtract the 72 and the 90, we'll find out that we've got 198 degrees for the rest of these sections. Now we use the fact that twice as many people voted for L as for M. This is a ratio question. If I give L 2 boxes, M will only have 1, because there's twice as many for L as for M. That means that we are taking this 198 degrees and dividing it equally into 3 parts. 198 divided by 3 is 66. That means that each of these sections is going to be worth 66 degrees. So that's easy for M. M is going to be 66 degrees. And for L, 2 lots of 66 is 132 degrees. That's what we're going to draw onto the pie chart. So using a protractor, we need to draw an angle of 132 degrees for L. In order to do that, we first of all need to make sure that the bottom part of our protractor is in the centre of the circle. We then need to make sure that the last line drawn, which is this line for K, is what goes against the 0 line here. So it's going across to 180 and up to 0. Just to show you that a bit clearer, it's touching 0. And we're going to measure 132 degrees. So since we're starting at 0, we're going to use the outside scale, going all the way around to 132 degrees. You'd put a mark, and then you would draw that line. Now please make sure you are checking your answer by measuring this last section. It should be 66 degrees, and it is. You do have 2 degrees to play with if you are slightly inaccurate. Any more than that, you will lose marks. Final section to do is to actually place in the labels. So this is section L, and this is sector M. Part B. Altogether, 16,200 people voted. How many voted for J? So we need to work out what fraction of this circle is being represented by J, which means that we've got 72 degrees out of a total of 360. If you write as a fraction 72 over 360, you can actually simplify that fraction down. Your calculator will do this easily. You can do 72 divided by 360. You'll get an answer of 0.2. It's the same as the fraction 1/5, which means that 1/5 of the people voted for J, which means you are working out 1/5 of 16,200. To find a fifth of something, you are dividing it by 5. So 16,200 divided by 5 is 3,240 people. That's going to be the end of part 2. Join me in the final part 3 for the rest of the questions from this paper, starting at question number 20 from the exam, but question number 21 from Maths Watch.